That's the idea. I've got to build that anticipation.
Hello. Well, it'll be even better now. All the wisdom.
My mindset is all about like doing cool things on the surface to get everyone looking and then tell them something they really need to hear, as opposed to just like the surface level ego. Look at me, I'm super cool, I can do backflips. Like I've got a more powerful message than just a backflip or, a good
Yeah.
body.
I didn't officially like start our conversation. I was just like, how are you? Do you wanna? And then we started chatting about something else, and then I was like, oh well, do you wanna let everyone know who you are?
Okay.
Oh, good.
Good, how are you?
I'm brilliant. Thank you for asking. Introduce yourself to everyone who does not know who Connor Tyson is.
My name is Connor Tyson. I'm based in Bristol in the UK, and I'm a life performance coach. So, a lot of people don't really know what that means, but it ranges from helping people increase their awareness of their own mind, get fit physically, optimize their health, and really just have a good time and just enjoy this experience we're having right now on the earth. And that's kind of a little bit about what I do in a vague sense. I'm also a calisthenics athlete, so I support I perform, I should say, freestyle calisthenics in competitions across the world when we can travel and do fun stuff like that. And if you haven't heard of calisthenics, it's like a freestyle form of, it's called street workout. So kind of like break dancing, gymnastics, bit of a mix of all of those.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And I did just see that you were pondering over doing a backflip around the World Series. Can I just get a yes, please? Like right enough, I've always seen people doing backflips and admired it. I think it's something I would love to learn how to do. I mean, I did used to do trampolining when I was younger and loved a good backflip, but that was on a trampoline, a lot safer than doing it on ground, right?
Yeah. But you got to start somewhere. That's where I learned.
On a trampoline?
Yeah, definitely. And then I just chucked it onto a crash mat in my garden, and then it just went from there. And now I do it on the floor.
Yeah. No, that's something I should maybe challenge myself to get into, because it's just been one of those things that, you see others doing and you're like, oh, well, that's for them. Sure, I'll stay on my own lane here. But I mean, it's one of those things that if you want to do it, then yeah, you can start start learning it.
It's so doable. It looks scary, but I remember watching, I was really young and I watched the dance group Diversity on Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, and I saw the little kid, Perry. He's not that little anymore, but at the time, he was a small guy with an afro doing a backflip. And I thought, I mean, I can't dance, but I at least want to learn that. And then within like a year, I had just learned it and I could do it. And I was like completely uncoordinated before that.
Yeah, no, that's actually class. I don't know if you were a fan of JLS as well. I always saw Aston Marigold doing the backflips. I was their number one fan. I always went to their concerts and he was the one known for doing the backflips. And I was like, I love you.
It's definitely a good party trick. It gets people looking, and then my mindset is all about like doing cool things on the surface to get everyone looking and then tell them something they really need to hear, as opposed to just like the surface level ego. Look at me, I'm super cool, I can do backflips. Like I've got a more powerful message than just a backflip or a good body.
But that's the thing, like in such a distracted world that we're in today, that's why I was asking you like for a sexy title for this. That's the way to grip people's attention, by like doing the class things, like bouncing around the world literally. And then once they're in your vibe and in your space, you can actually enrich their lives with something that could really benefit them for the better, right?
I think the key is like giving people what they think they need, like to get them in, and then giving them what they actually need after. So people think they just need to see something visually enticing, or they need the easy quick fix, or the pill that solves everything. And once you get them in the door believing that, you can then really enrich somebody's life with the true meaning of what they need to get to that next step, wherever they're trying to go. But it's never the sexy outcome. It is not the truth of what they really need. But that's just marketing. You've got to be able to market and communicate effectively to influence a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that, and that people often think that what they need in life is, say, for example, I'll be happy if I have more money, or I'll be happy if I lose weight, or these are just like the common ones that you hear from people. Whereas it's actually like a much more deep-rooted issue that they will need the mindset mastery to overcome, but they just think that that's all they need to be happy, kind of thing, whereas it's actually there's a lot more unraveling to do than just that. But that's what, if you tell them, yeah, I can get you to that outcome, then they'll be all right then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I market myself as a fitness coach because ultimately that's what most people are looking for.
Yeah.
And I know I can give so much more than that, but if I advertise the so much more, it doesn't register with people in the same way because they're not looking for it. Like, even if everybody might need a little bit of support regarding their mental health and, you know, their emotional well-being, they don't look for it, but they do look for physical changes, and then the emotional changes kind of show themselves after X amount of time anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's what's sexified as well in the media, that, you know, it's those things that make you happy. It's looking good. It's not really, you know, there's less of a focus on actually feeling good as opposed to, you know, just looking class.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like, I mean, do you not think the main goal of life is to feel good? I mean, so many people can look absolutely class on the outside, but they actually feel so miserable and like just lost within themselves. And what kind of life is that, to look like absolutely sensational catwalk model and then to feel worthless on your own and as you are? I mean, I personally wouldn't like to live a life like that.
Yeah, and it is the mainstream narrative, and I think it comes down to things like, you know, if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, it's a place where the stereotypical solution is treat the symptoms and ignore the underlying cause. And you know, if you just look at nutrition, that can treat the underlying cause of so many chronic health conditions, but the traditional medical system goes straight to, let's go to the symptoms, let's, you know, wipe them off so you're not feeling bad. But it's like running down a hot road barefoot and just numbing yourself with the pain rather than just getting off the road. You know,
yeah, it's so true, Connor. It breaks my heart. It's like you're just putting a plaster on something. You're not actually dealing with the cut. It's just a band-aid for now. Like, oh, well, we'll just give you this wee tablet. You're not actually dealing with the cause that's actually causing that ailment to be present in the first place, which is what you need to really work on healing to actually get yourself to health. And how would you sort of, in terms of like, you know, just finding your why in life? You know, I think that's really the main aim, to find your why and your passion and your purpose, and to be doing that every day of your life, because that's a whole and fulfilling life for everyone. But I feel like for a lot of people, us saying that, like, you know, it seems like way out of their reach. Like, oh no, like that's too much effort, you know. But this is a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's so important to find the motivation, you know, to do things in life, because ultimately, like, motivation only comes when there is a reason behind that activity or that action. So, you know, you want to get up and go to the gym, as the most generic example ever. You want to get up and go to the gym. You might be motivated to do it, but no one truly is motivated for the action of anything. Like, really, they're motivated for what that action will bring to them and the state of
the outcome
being they'll be in. So like the outcome, you know, that we can go one layer deeper, and most people are seeking a certain level of fitness, maybe for health reasons, maybe that's for, you know, physical aesthetics, but they're seeking that because then one layer deeper, they want to feel how they will feel when they have that body. They don't necessarily want that body because it does anything more functional. Yeah, obviously there's a certain level of health, but when you have a strong why, it allows you to not just get to a destination and then be seeking the next. Is to get to the destination, to feel fulfilled in that and to feel satisfied, and then to realign and say, okay, what's next? And not to think what's next because this isn't enough, to think this is enough and what more is there for me, and just to have that abundance mindset. So if you don't have that why, then you're constantly going to be seeking things and nothing will ever feel enough. Your glass will always be half empty, and you'll just keep finding things that you'll find reasons as to why things aren't working out for you, and why the gym was really crowded today, or wow, that was so hard. And you start complaining about things that you're actually choosing to do. And that blows me away, because so many people are in jobs that they've applied for, they've got to, and they complain about the job after the day they finished. And you think, you got yourself
Oh,
it, because you create your own reality. So when you have a strong why, you can basically be intentional with your entire life. You can create the existence you want, and you can enjoy the existence. That's the key, actually enjoying the journey rather than sitting back and just complaining about it.
Connor, honestly, that fills me with so much light. You've no idea. To be speaking to someone who's also in that, abundance mindset and actually aligned with the abundance within them and that there is in this world. Because I personally, I don't know about you, but I feel like the majority of people are just living to work rather than working to live, all fulfilling, and they're actually working in their passion, right? So, I mean, do you think that most people have taken the time to pursue their passion, or do you think that we're all, I mean, everyone that you see is living a 9 to 5 lifestyle, Monday to Friday, absolutely hating it, dreading Monday, living for the weekend? This is sort of the standard, just what people are doing. They just get into a job because it's going to pay their bills, and they settle with this mediocre life.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people, they live their life in this cycle of essentially like playing Monopoly and only collecting $200 when you pass go. And they're just on this, the lowest vibration possible. They're not really just open to what they can really achieve in their life. And there's so much out there. There really is just so much you can achieve in this universe, and you can do the most amazing things. You can have the most incredible experiences, even in a year where we have not been able to travel abroad, and there have been certain rules and regulations that we never thought we would have ever had in this lifetime. They're there, and we can still find amazing opportunities now. So I think that for me, you can create amazing opportunities for yourself, no matter where you're looking. So I was in this limiting mindset for the start of 2020, I think, as we all naturally were, because of the pressures of the media and the rules going on. I found myself now, upon reflection, looking back at where I was at in my headspace last year, and I think I really was putting myself in this tiny box, and quite rightly so. We all were. But now you can look a little bit wider, go outside of yourself, and realize that there's a lot that we can still be grateful for right here. There's so much going on, whether it's just the sun coming in through your window, which is a rarity in the UK, but when it comes, we can really enjoy it. You can enjoy that. I've moved to a different city within the last 6 months, and that didn't need international travel. I still went somewhere new. I still changed my environment because I knew it would change my state. And that's a priority to me. So I think if you are feeling like you're living life on this 9 to 5 press reset every single day, then it's very hard to know when you're inside that you're the one playing the game and you're in that constant existence. But sometimes you need to listen to the signs that, whatever you believe in is giving you. And for you, that might just be hearing this and starting to think outside the box. Like, it can be as small as just watching this piece of content or listening to this piece of content. That's enough. And often we don't listen to the signs that this universal intelligence gives us, that we need to be changing something, or that we have permission to change or try new things. So that's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. And we always ask for abundance. Yeah. We always ask for new things, and I'm manifesting.
Is it okay to ask for more? Oh no, is it okay to ask for a pay rise? Oh, and you're sort of, so like, basically, if you need a sign, this is it.
Yeah,
like, we're giving you permission to step into an abundant life. You deserve it.
You do. And the crazy thing is, as well, we've all got those stubborn friends that in an argument, you never want to be with them, and they say, my way or the highway. But the funny thing is, as I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, like, when somebody is set on something, they do get it. Like, you do get what you want if you decide that's the only option you're going to take. So
be that guy. No, but it's important though, because being around also friends that are not setting you back from going against higher things, because that can really be a crucial block that stops you from pursuing your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you need to be afraid, to not be afraid to just step into the new reality that you want. And I think a lot of people are scared because they think it's going to be this huge quantum leap, but actually it's just a very small shift in decision making, like one extra yes a day or a week, or one extra, outside the box idea that you actually put into motion rather than just thinking about it. Or maybe thinking about mentioning something in a conversation that usually you'd hold back from. Maybe you do mention that and then it takes you down a whole different route you never knew. And all of these small shifts you can make, that just expands all that you are, and you can learn so much more from just having the ability and confidence to say whatever you feel called to say at that moment, and that can take you so far.
And not holding back, just speaking your voice. And also, I noticed you touched so much on gratitude, and especially during this whole lockdown. I don't know about you, but I've had a consistent gratitude practice. It's something I write my gratitude. I mean, I have books from years of everything I'm grateful for, and over lockdown, like, especially, like, that's just enhanced so much. And I feel like people feel there's so much lacking because of this, whereas I've really tuned into, I've just actually zoned out all those things that we can't have and tuned into all the things that I can, because it's just that mindset shift for you. And yes, I've moved into a new place, I'm in a box, we're in total lockdown here, and I have just found life in my little box, because I've made it for myself.
I think often there will be, there's always going to be people listening that are on the fence thinking, that sounds great. I've heard of this,
but it's not for me. No,
I don't feel it yet. Yeah. But I think if you're in that position, where you're not quite feeling it, or you don't connect to it on an emotional level, think about something, no matter what it is, that you actually really do like. You can just genuinely say, yeah, I love this. And whether it's food, whether it's a material item, like, that is actually fine. Find that. And I think then when you work backwards from small things that are obvious to you, you then can become more grateful for the bigger things that we don't notice. Like, I work with a lot of people on a very close basis, and often this is one of the first things we start talking about, gratitude practices. And we say, be grateful for the roof over your head and the hot water. And honestly, it's very hard to be genuinely grateful for those things when you have always had them. Like, I'm not lying. It is hard to, it might sound spoiled or like a third world thing, but if you've always had a MacBook Pro and that gets, and nothing is ever going to be taken away from you, like, you're going to just think, well, it's just my laptop. And you don't have that moment in your life where you feel really grateful for it. But personally, I found the moments where our gratitude has really been apparent in my life is when something has drastically shifted and my reality has completely taken a 180 flip. And then I've been able to look back and think, oh, wow, okay, so this happened, whether it's a bereavement, whether it's a complete change of experience, an environmental change like the COVID lockdown regulations. That's when you can go, okay, hit reset. Now I get what people were talking about before when they said, let's get grateful for the roof over our head or for the freedom, because now everyone collectively can say, I'm grateful for being able to go shopping or to go outside or whatever you find enjoyable or see friends. But 5 years ago, if we had said, hey, aren't you so grateful to see your mum? I'm sure you would be, but not in the same way as now. So we need these things to happen in our lives to give us perspective, because gratitude is only relevant with the correct perspective. And I think that's a very understandable thing to mention. If people aren't quite feeling that they can be grateful for all of these small things, it's only because of lack of perspective, and that's fine. But at some point in your life, perspectives will shift. And that's why traveling, speaking to new people, consuming inspirational content like this is really good, because it opens your mind to new perspectives. And you think, actually, you know what, wow, that guy's story really got my mind opened as to how other people live. And now I realize what I can be grateful for. But without that perspective, it's pretty fair to be stuck in your own box thinking, I don't know what I can be grateful for.
Yeah. And the fact that lockdown has been a true lesson and a blessing in disguise, I found that myself personally. Have you sort of, I feel like in a way you have you have the choice, right? You've either sunk or you've swum, and I don't know, like, just keep swimming from Finding Nemo, because I didn't personally see any other choice. I could have lay in bed all day, every day and done nothing, but what where's that going to get you? Sure, what's the sense in just drowning in misery and the reality of the world? Like, create your own reality.
I absolutely do understand why people are out there still having a hard time. Like, it's obvious.
Of course. I mean, it's very easy to.
You could make a list, but the thing is, when you understand that the choice is yours, I think it has to start with a small win, with, you know, having a great day because you choose, or saying yes to an opportunity, then it being good. If you reflect on that, that's why, you know, gratitude, not only as a present state, but as a reflective practice, is really powerful too. Reflecting on something you did because of a positive choice of yours, that helps to enforce a gratitude practice, rather than, you know, we could sit here right now and list off things right now, but if I put it specifically to, I'm grateful for the fact that yesterday I said yes to going to the gym for the first time, and now I met one of my friends there that I haven't seen for 5 years, and blah, blah, blah. You can find things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just thinking, what are the material things in my life I'm grateful for? That's very hard. But when you connect it to modern events that have just happened, that are really, really, you know, present in your mind, you can feel the emotion then, because you're in that state and you're kind of stimulated to be thinking about it. Then it gets a lot easier to be grateful for things. And I think it's about using these practices as a tool, rather than just to be aware of them and say, I'm grateful for this, this, and this. That's great. But you can also, if you're trying to move your life forwards, you can also say, I'm grateful for the fact that today I did this, this, and this. And then because of those things, I know that tomorrow I'm going to be able to achieve this. That's how you get progressive with it, rather than being in just a present state, which, you know, they both have their purposes.
And a lot of my gratitude, I have also written, today I'm grateful for, and it's been someone, like, it's been a difficult situation, because then I can then write, oh, because I've now learned to protect my own energy and not spend as much time around that person, because that was, you know, quite draining. Do you know, things like that, that it's not just the physical things, and, you know, that it's actually, you can find light if you choose to in the struggles and the challenges.
Always.
So
I think
gratitude can be seen in a very different light, and there's different prompts, you know, who did I enjoy spending time with today? What did I learn to do better tomorrow? Do you know, there's different sort of things that you can take with it.
And that comes back to the perspective, doesn't it? When you have something that you perceive to be negative in your life, I always say when you perceive to be, because I don't believe there is inherently a positive or negative thing.
No, see, like, it's your perception.
It is, because something can happen that if you take the choice to say everything's happening for me, that's very hard in certain situations. But if I'm preaching that out on social media and to my clients and to my friends, and I'm then saying, oh my God, this bad thing happened to me, I'm actually, that's a paradox, because I've just said nothing ever happens.
No, nothing is. Everything is what you make it.
So if something that is less than ideal, or it's not necessarily bad, right? I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but
I know.
that you don't want, that you weren't expecting, that's usually what it is. It's more, does this align with my expectation of what it should have been? If no, it's negative. But actually, that was going to happen regardless, based on these outside, you know, circumstances. But then you can look at it and say, okay, look, if that is what I see to be negative, what can I learn from that? You know, you never lose, you learn. What can I pick up from that, and not, so that doesn't repeat next time? Or maybe, why did I need that? And it's easier to reflect and say, I'm so grateful that 3 years ago I got fired from that job, because now I'm here. But the challenge is in the moment of somebody handing you a piece of paper to say, hey, you're fired, deal with it. That's the tough thing. But just remember, you're always going to be looking back on your previous self, and you'll judge yourself. So make your future self proud, and that's an easy way to live.
Love that. I think that's actually a really nice way to end. Make your future self proud. Like, that is beautiful. And actually, would you like to, I have done this in a few, and I think you might be able to come up with a good one, that a challenge, because I do one of these a week, and we could, you know, have like a challenge to do for a week, or, you know, just something to start. Do you have any ideas in mind off the bat of this topic, that you know, somewhere for someone to start?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, when it comes to a gratitude practice, we may as well center it around that.
Yeah.
I think if we, you know, give a challenge to at 2 points in the day, sit down with a piece of paper or on your phone, whatever you want to do, and write down 3 things that you are grateful for in the morning and in the evening. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but to be a little bit more complex with it, what you can do if you want to take it a step further and really move that into action is to say, I'm grateful for this because, and then give the reason as to why that helped you. And I want you to give 3 things, not 3 material things. One's allowed to be material. The second can be something that happened that you perceive to be negative, and you can find the light in. So that's a really powerful one because it will start you shifting your perspective. And then the third one, I want you to say, I'm grateful for this because it will allow me to, and then put there something you're going to achieve in the future because of that thing that happened to you, whether it happened for you or you felt it happened to you. Still say, I'm grateful for this. Say, you know, let's take an extreme example of you getting fired from your job. I'm grateful that I was fired from my job because now I will open up new opportunities in my life. Something simple as that.
Yeah, I love that. Grooving with gratitude, you know, like a hashtag or something. So we'll maybe think of like a hashtag too. Do you like that?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's a challenge, and people can sort of tag us in their, they could even tag it in a story, the 3 things they're grateful for, whether because that gives people an incentive to share during, like, you know, 2 points during the day.
Yeah, look, it's really hard sometimes to share personal things. But the more you share and the more you put out to the universe, the more you're going to get. Like I'm a big believer in the fact that if you just start saying the things that you want to do, that they are going to come to light more. And the first step to attracting something that you want is not being afraid to say it. So for me, that really helped in my personal life over the last few years since I started speaking about some of the, you know, perceptions, the harder things I've gone through, you know, over the last few years that have really shaped me and changed my personality radically in a very short space of time. The more I start being completely open and transparent about that, the quicker I've seen the wheels turn in my personal growth journey. Because I think when you open up like that, you attract the people that resonate with you on that level, and you are going to repel an equal amount of people. But that's actually a good thing because I don't want to be hearing from people that don't understand where I'm at. I'd rather hear from 2 people and not hear from 20 if they were the right people. So yeah, you know, in this, the reason I'm saying it is because if you are going to share something in your story about these things you're grateful for, and maybe even something that happened to you that was negative, don't be afraid to put that out there, because actually you're showing people how strong you are in that you are not afraid to say that this happened to me, and I'm going to take that perspective to say it's happening for me. Yeah, and subconsciously you will be influencing everyone else who sees that to get more grateful and groove with gratitude. Exactly. Oh yeah. Well, do you want to share where everyone can find you then, so that they're not like being limited in their life without knowing where to find you? Without my wisdom, of course. Yeah. So it's at Connor Tyson _PT on Instagram. But to be honest, if you type in Connor Tyson, you'll probably find me. If you check out my page on Instagram, that's the best place to find me, honestly. I also have a podcast called Planting the Seed, and that's available pretty much everywhere. I'm pretty selective with, you know, the content I put out on social media because I feel that it does have more power than we think. And every single thing, like you say, that will influence others on a subconscious level, even if they don't realize it. So, you know, I put a lot of thought into what I put out there, into my message. And yeah, it would be great to connect. If anyone's listened to this and has enjoyed it, just drop me a message and say, hey, because it's always nice to connect with new people. Yeah, it's a safe place. I love the name of your podcast, honestly. Yeah, Planting the Seed. Also, a fact that I'm vegan as well is like kind of had to get the word plant in there somewhere. Yeah, I was wondering, are you vegan? I think that's just even better, like. Yeah, of course. I don't understand how you can up with vegans. I don't get how you can preach the universal love and understanding of all these things if you then consume animal products. Like, in my head, it's something that I was just blind to for a long time. But as I've opened my eyes to new ideas, that was one of the first things that I changed in my journey of like self growth. I think, like, just thinking, oh wait, what am I eating? Like, I didn't even think about what I ate from a place of health a while ago. Nothing. And then I started changing for health reasons, and it was like, oh yeah, and it's animals that I'm saving. That's kind of a nice thing. And I really got into thinking that, and I was like, right, I really am sticking with this. Like, I'm definitely not going to change. And then all the other stuff, like, that's just a bonus, but that's on the foundation of it is like no harm to other beings, and that's just obvious. But some people just don't see that, and I get why, because the culture makes it acceptable to not question things, and I think that's the key, isn't it? Like, if you don't question something that's just done, like for example, just get the medication. Just comes back to, like, if you're trying to do something just for yourself, like, it's rarely enough. Whereas if you're going vegan for a bigger cause, and you know the impact that's going to have, it's like people work super hard to provide for their kids, not because they like the work, but because they know their kids have to be fed. Like, they just do it.
Greater purpose, and you're getting, you know, you're actually getting into a community of these kindred spirits and soul lovers. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're connected. We're all like just connected then. That's what I've really found, like a real sense of connection to my body and the world through being vegan. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's honestly how I feel.
True. And I think when you're not consuming the bad energy of like something that's suffered, you change a lot. And that's something that people don't speak about. But if something has literally died, like a living being has been, you know, killed for you, then like, if that's not deeply appreciated, I think that's the key. Like, mindless consumption of factory farmed animals, where things have been killed without, and it's just turning a blind eye to, like, well, you know what, it's just food, it's just, you know, it's not the same as those pigs that are outside of those cows. It's just like, it's just the food pigs. Like, no, they're the same, they're just bred for food for you, because if you actually stop consuming it, there'd be less demand.
I don't know, I just think it's so beautiful and soul enriching being vegan. Like, and I would never push it down anyone's throat. Like, I'm just vegan. I actually tell anyone really that I'm vegan. I don't feel like it's a, you know, it's not something I lead with. I'm not one of those vegans that like, oh, I'm vegan, you need to be vegan. You know, I'm just living a life being vegan, and it brings me a lot of joy.
I could look at you and go, well, based on all your other beliefs, like, it would make sense that you do this, and that's the case. So
yeah, I know. So you didn't actually know I was vegan either?
Yeah, I mean, I knew when you said, but other than that, like, I would have just guessed. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You don't need to say like Connor Vegan Tyson, who's a vegan and promotes veganism. Like, yeah, okay, I know, I get it. Like,
I know.
It's kind of a lack mindset if you assume that everyone is going to like need something to be pushed in their face to convert. Like, I've actually, I reckon since I've gone vegan, there are probably 25 plus more vegans as a direct result of me on this earth now who have been vegan for over a year. Like, for sure, I know there are, because of my friends.
That's so empowering.
That's a big impact. Like, that's huge on what it does.
Well done, you.
I'm not like Mr. Vegan Coach who gets people to go vegan. Like, I'll transform your life from unaware carnivore to wholesome woke vegan. Like, that's not what I do.
I know, but that is something that you can do just alongside if someone needs it or someone wants that transformation, which is incredible. You know, the amount of transformations you can actually achieve in people and the variety there. There's so much joy and enlightenment in that. I don't think it's just so exciting. Like who's going to come next?
Exactly. There's always something more.
The day's running away.
So good. So good. Well, yeah, it was nice to chat.
Usually like, yeah, okay, 20 minutes and we're out of here. So I definitely do appreciate the just connection in this life.
So good. Yeah, it's so good. It's nice. It's nice to speak about these things.
Yeah, just to chat on a just general level rather than actually trying to help the world.
Well, not everything's business or transformation. It can just be like real life communication. And I think that even rhymed, I think.
A human with an ability to converse, to direct a conversation in a certain way, which is exactly what you're aiming for.
I guess it's a lot of neurolinguistic programming and like subconscious things that I'm dropping in to get the next thing coming. People don't even realize, but it's definitely a skill I work on. I think life is just such a game. Like, when you talk to people, you can I always think to myself, I wonder if I could get them speaking about this by the end of the conversation. And then no one realizes, but by the end,
always play games like this. Like, literally, I feel like a proper influencer in the real world, in that I just influence people to do things that you sound like a psycho when you say this, but like right now, like it very much is within your power to actually, you know, it sounds like demonic, you know, when you think about it, like what's trying to get you to do these things, but you're doing it for good.
Like, everything is sales, isn't it? Like, you're trying to convince someone of your point of view, and if they say yes, it's like closing a deal, or like everything is a deal, everything is communication. So if you're doing it for ethical means, I think it's that you have to learn to do it, because if you have something that you want to have an impact on the world in, if you can't communicate effectively, like for me, communication is my absolute number one priority in my life. Like communication, if you work on that, you can just keep going and moving into new places and helping people. And yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Literally, it is. You're literally making the most of your time. It's so incredible. And you were saying, like, you always have things on. Like, actually, you know, that's just feeding into you and like getting you, you know, it's actually just getting you all fired up just while you're doing something else that you would be like blank space.
Choosing to be like in the driver's seat of your life rather than cruising on autopilot, like hoping for the best. Like, you're actually choosing, like, hey, I'm gonna mindfully put this on because it's gonna get me feeling good. You know, if you have a day where you're like, feeling a bit meh today, why is that? Like, you probably weren't in control. Like you let external events control your internal world. That's why.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, you never know whenever you ask people, like, oh, well, they just think I'm weird sliding into their DMs, never chatted to them before, but I really appreciate it. I think that was a very, very powerful episode, and that people will actually have a lot of value to take from that. So thank you so much for your time.
Hey, welcome. That's the thing, like, you got to just be open and ready to just deal with anything, and especially when kind of having a two-way conversation. In this sense, it's very hard to script things, and I find that if I listen to a video or a podcast and it sounds like it's an interview, it doesn't work.
I hate that. It puts me off.
It's a good challenge as well, because like when you're interviewing somebody that maybe you haven't met in real life before on Zoom, I always think of it as a challenge. So like I always assume, like, well, imagine if I'd known this person for 5 years, how comfortable would I be? That's how I try and act all the time.
Well, did you think I came across as uncomfortable? Because I don't feel uncomfortable talking to anybody. Like, we have never spoken in our lives. And I just feel like I've known you for forever. Like, I do generally feel and that I'm able to just form a connection quickly with people.
Because you understand the interconnected nature of the universe, that's why.
Yeah, I'm just tuned into the vibes, but not really many people are. I don't feel there's many people on this kind of wavelength. That's why it's been like so just beautiful speaking to someone in a similar mindset. You know what I mean? It's like, you're grateful.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I think you do attract what you are as well. So like the more you put that out, you just get people that understand you, and they kind of the weird words you use, and then it becomes like a lot easier to converse.
I think a lot of people would be scared though as well. Do you not? Like a lot of people would be scared to slide into your DMs and be like, here, would you fancy just doing a podcast with me? You know, they'd just be too scared, or just even say hi, never mind doing a podcast, just hello.
I know. I find it easier though when you have like, you don't necessarily have a fixed outcome of, oh, I need to sell you this, or I need you to become this person in my life. I do think having like some kind of podcast or interview series like that is a really good way to just know people, because I've made the most amazing connections through either doing podcasts or hosting podcasts with some people that I never would have dreamt to have met. But that just happens because you have this shared communication of like, also a lot of the time, like, you get to speak to people that you charge a lot of money for their time, and like they don't charge time. So it's like the wisdom you can take on, even if it's just for your own personal gain.
I know, right? Yeah, like so much you can learn from each individual, and to really just hear what they have to say is incredibly powerful. I took a 2-year social media break, and I went back on over lockdown because I felt in my heart like the world needed it, like the world needed me back. So that was, you know,
as long as it's not taking from you, if you know what it is as a tool, you can. Social media is only dangerous when you are a consumer, not a creator. And if you can actually use it as a tool, then it's fine.
Create more than you can consume. That's all I can say.
Yeah, definitely. If you ask me what's going on with the Kardashians or with the news, like, I didn't even know hairdressers opened on Monday in England. Like, I had no idea.
I don't have a TV corner. I've literally I'm in my own. I'm creating my own news. So I hear people are asking me, "Oh, did you see the news?" Nah, definitely haven't seen the news in years. I do not know what's going on. All I heard every day was, oh, the number of deaths and this, that, and I was thinking, I I was honestly standing in the kitchen with my hands in my ears. I was like, I can't be listening to this toxic negativity. I'm tuning into, you know, another planet.
Even if I'm not listening and I'm doing something else, like I know it's going in. So the fact that people do that with negative things,
then
you realize like, oh, actually, there's a lot there that you're taking in that you maybe you don't realize. That's maybe why you're a little bit crazy or a little bit miserable at the moment, or really, really scared of, like, you know, everything, like going to the supermarket, like.
Yeah, my goodness, I know. People are literally petrified.
Out of your house without wearing something like that. It's like, okay, we're in a pretty wild place right now. Start questioning the narrative of like everything, like literally down to what do I eat? What do I drink? What do, you know, who am I hanging around? Like there are so many columns to it, but
what do I put on my body? What deodorant am I using? What am I actually, what is my skin absorbing? What is my life absorbing? And whenever
it can get a bit overwhelming though. So like sometimes you do just need
somewhere though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can go so far, but I think that even just having an awareness of like, okay, just get the fundamentals right, like sleep right, eat right, do a bit of exercise, drink some water, like reduce other things going into your body.
Minimize stress, yeah. They're always the pillars that I would touch on as well. Like, I mean, they're the non-sexy things, but they're the things that actually make a difference. It's not the things you buy, it's the things you actually focus on that you do every day and that are actually going to make a difference.
That's what I find from my coaching. I learn a lot. Like I work with a lot of people that are very entrepreneurial, they're very busy, they're making a lot of money, and they've got no time. And then like, okay,
time is all we have. It's all about priorities. I hate when people say they've no time. I always go back and say, no, you're just not making time for me, and that's okay then.
No, your time is full. It's not you don't have time. You've got the same time. Your time is taken up with things that you don't need to be doing. So like I go in and say, all right, stop doing that, and that. And then what do you know? You got more time because you're not focusing on all this. Yeah, if your screen time dropped 50%, like you can do a lot more.
Yeah. Just get off your phone and live your life. Unless you're listening to this, of course.
Yeah, obviously, unless you're listening to the content that we're meaningfully putting out, then stay on that phone. Keep looking, keep scrolling.
Just a little bit of self-promotion in there, so you have to cheer for yourself, like in this life.
I was thinking about social media, and I think, like, is it dark to be using it because it's actually, you know, using something that is keeping people on? But at the end of the day, people are going to be on it whether you like it or not. So be the creator that inspires people rather than one of the many that doesn't.
I think that's very powerful, actually, you know, that you actually have a purpose and a place on social media to be used for good. Okay. See you later.